Right, I've got two jobs today. Number one, undo the split pins, take the nuts off, and in theory crown wheel should come off with this bearing mounted to it. Second job, get the bearing off the crown wheel, which could be easy or it could be a total nightmare, but we'll see. This is just how I do these. I'm just going to cover this bearing up in case any bits of crud fall in it. Right. This one might be tricky because it's been twisted. I'm trying to get these as straight as I can, otherwise they're not going to go out. Squeeze them together. Right. It's best to get the I find it's best to get the rear one sorted first. Get that roughly straight and straightened out, which is why these are better than normal pliers, because you can apply more squeeze force, which straightens the ripples out in the pins. Hang on. Well, I appreciate this isn't a very exciting video, but it is maybe if you're planning to do this job, I would argue. So I'm not going for ratings here, or subscriptions for that matter. Right, different ways to pull them out. Not that I'm an expert, but I've tried just about everything. You can get a very small screwdriver, put it into that eye there, and hammer at an angle like that, and it might pull it out. It may just split it into two pieces of metal though. So I don't know if you can see better with there, but you get a smaller screwdriver and just put it in like that, and then hammer that way. It may come out. The thing is, get a pair of grips like this, grip it on if there's enough sticking out to grip, which they're, well, a tiny bit, and then just smack these. Might come. And another way, which worked with the previous two, is to tap the back of these. I can't get that one because my camera's in the way. If you tap too hard, you'll bend them. So just very gently, hang on. Now, I seem to have discovered this by accident. I don't know if it's an actual thing, but I don't actually hold this against the pin. I leave a gap. So when I tap it, in effect the punch, which has got a big one, becomes its own hammer. It's kind of bouncing off it. It just seems less likely to bend it, because bending it is your main problem, bending the pins. You just take your time. basically the least amount of force that makes it move is what you need. Just take your time. Now that has moved, so I'm just going to take it nice and easy. Pins aren't bending. They'd probably come off like that. Okay. Oh, okay. We need. Let's just improvise a bit here. I'm at the limit of the grip of these because they're old, so I'm cheating now. I want to get them on really tight. Oh, I can't do them up now. Right, that's done much tighter. Try again. Yay! Right, see? One pin. All the split pins are out, and there's definitely 8 of them. So the next thing is to undo the nuts. Now, I'm not sure what's stopping the bolts just spinning around, because these bolts have no flats on them. I'm not sure if there's a flat here which rubs against this, which stops it turning. I'm about to find out anyway. Right, well, these are 9/16. They do turn and the bolts don't spin, so they're done up really tight, but they do turn. Problem I was having when I was whacking this to turn these, the whole thing was just trying to roll off the bench. So put it in the vise. The teeth are jammed into this piece of plywood, so I'm not damaging them, and it just fits. It's really good actually. It's only by accident that I've got one of these rotating vices. You can turn it around and lock it in any position. It's just really helpful when you've got a stupid thing like this, long shaft sticking out here. It just makes it fit on the bench. So I've just hit this with a hammer once, and now it actually turns by hand quite easily. So it's got 3 left to go now. You can tap the bolts out with a punch quite easily, so that gap forming there. So what I've done is I've put 2 of the nuts loosely back on, so I don't want this just going ping and bits flying all over the floor. I'm going to take it out of the vise, put it down on the bench, because the next thing is to get this part away from the crown wheel somehow. I don't know if you can, not sure you can see this, but I've tapped the bolts through apart from these 2, and I put a piece of wood here and then whacked it so I don't damage the teeth. And you can see this hole here that's been drilled. It's flush with this piece of metal here. Now you can see here it's just moved slightly. See that ring that's appeared? So this crown wheel's moved that way by about 3mm. So of course now it's at an angle, so I need to rotate it, tap it under here, and I just keep gently tapping as I go around until it pops off. Because this inner section with the spider gears in sort of goes into it. There's like a lip. So I've done a little bit more tapping each side, and you can see now that this has come off. You can almost see fresh air here all the way around. And of course now my crown wheel's moved up and hit this nut, so now I'm going to take these nuts off, because now I know I need to just tap it really gently and it'll just pop off. I hope it's actually going, as you can see. Let's just lock this off in the vise. Right, as you can see, it's something's starting to happen. Ooh, well, look at that. That wasn't too bad, was it? I'm going to put a couple of nuts back on a couple of these bolts so this part doesn't fall off and then the spider gears fall out. It looks in pretty good shape actually. Just move this across. Oh, well, there you go. That's how the crown wheel comes off. So let's have a look. I mean, I'm not an expert, but those teeth don't look excessively worn. I'm placing this anyway, but I mean, these don't look excessively worn. You can see where it's been interacting, but there's no ridge there, for example, at all. And the same in there. Nothing looks horrific going on. Because this van was in a museum, and presumably it was in reasonable shape for the guy to consider putting it in his museum, you do wonder if it was low mileage or what. But on the other hand, the Banjo axle's definitely been apart at some point, so maybe it was really worn and someone's replaced everything. Really don't know, or maybe they were just inspecting it. Who knows? Anyway, none of this looks terrible to me. This often happens while I'm working out here. Delivery guys come up with car bits. So, who's this from? O'Neill's Vintage Ford. Oh, there you are. O'Neill's Vintage Ford. What could be inside, eh? It's got to be something to do with my rear axle, isn't it? And what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Ah! Do you know what that is? That's the locking tab washer which goes, oh, it's in the other room, but goes sort of about there between the two nuts which are locked together, which set the preload on that. And mine was completely knackered, and yeah, I mean, I won't tell you what I paid for that, but it was quite a lot. But on the other hand, sometimes for these little pieces, you just thankful there's someone in the UK that still sells them, because then you can get on with the job. So it was probably worth paying for that than waiting for it to come from the US. And so yeah, I can carry on with that now. So I'll put that safe on the magic shelf and crack on with this. So this is what's known as a bit of a bodge. I've put a bit of aluminium, a bit of tube there, a few washers, just screw that on. It just holds this together, and same for that one. I mean, I could have used a bit of rubber hose or anything really, because it's only temporary. I just want all this to stay together. Put the nuts back on so I don't lose them. I'll probably wrap the whole of this in a freezer bag and then just put that somewhere safe, because now we're looking at this. This clearly slides off the axle, just leaving an axle with this on the end. Again, I'll put a freezer bag around that to protect it, and maybe that end as well. And then I'm concentrating on this, because my job is to get this bearing off this and put my new crown wheel on. There we are, one freezer bag. So we put that away, slide this off, and then look at what we've got here. Well, that's answered one of my questions. I'll just clean this up a bit. When I looked at my new crown wheel, I noticed this. It was off center, and I thought, is that a machining error? And it probably doesn't matter anyway in the great scheme of things. But actually, obviously it's meant to be there. There's some holes here. It's obviously some sort of oiling system. The spider gears, I don't know, it sort of acts like a slinger or something that moves oil in, but anyway, looks like it's meant to be there, so that's good. So my next job, that's the whole purpose of taking this apart, is to get this, see this off of there. Now you say, oh well, you just use a bearing puller, like a bearing puller, steering wheel puller, and I do have one of those tools. So just from experience, that could go well or really badly and just take like days of farting around. So another way, so I can put a puller on here, carefully have it pressing on the inner part, and then the jaws, if you like, going under there. I don't want to damage the bearing if I can help it. The other way is to put it in my hydraulic press and have something like this under here. Probably have to reshape those under the bearing, and then you push down on the center really hard. If I do that, there's going to be some fabricating and welding required to get it to actually fit into my press here, but that is another way to do it. So I'll try the bearing puller tool first and see how that goes. Okay, the tool I actually had was a harmonic balancer puller, which can also be used as a steering wheel puller, but it's not a bearing puller. These are bearing pullers. I should be able to do something with this. You see, basically you have these hooks, and then you have this other type which go sort of inside bearings that are pushed inside tubes, if you like. Anyway, hopefully I'll get something working from this lot. Right, as I somehow expected really, this is done up mega tight. I can't actually do it up any tighter, and there's no sign of it budging at all. In fact, this will probably fly off if I'm not careful and hit the ceiling. So I'm probably going to resort to the push it out from the top method using this, which means making things again. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if I bought this and it didn't work, I might as well have just got a new bearing and put it on there with my press tool. And you'd be right. However, I didn't do that, so I'm going to get this off just as an educational experience for myself, just to see if I can get the bloody thing off. So I've enlarged these notches slightly so we get contact at 4 points when they're practically touching. I'll probably clamp them together or something like that, and I've got to figure out a way of holding this so it doesn't foul the crown wheel. Okay, I've rigged up this contraption. The two plates rest on the inner kind of L-shaped piece here, and they're slid up tight, and as soon as you apply some pressure it pushes everything down onto these bars. So in theory it should work. I don't know if it will, but all I can do is pump the jack, see what happens. So let's see what happens. I've got an old socket in here which is just the right size. Okay, here we go. Pushing. Of course, if this comes out, this is just going to drop plonk onto here. So maybe I should put something under here actually. There we go. Old cushion sloping back slightly, so if it lands on it, it's sort of slide that way, hopefully. Oh god, what could possibly go wrong, eh? Right, back to our bearing. Bloody hell. Right, well, it's gone. Nothing's actually broken. It's actually gone. You see it moved? Flipping heck. That was a bit tight, wasn't it? Okay, will it go again? Oh, right, now it's just pushing gently out. Look, you see it's coming down? Yes, well, I'm going to put this in the stand because I'm going to catch it in my hand when it drops out. That's the plan. Okay, so one hand on here, and out it comes, as I knew it would. There we are. Da, da, da. Wow, that was a laugh, wasn't it? Actually, it could have been a lot worse, let's be honest.